this was not only one of the best JRPGs I've ever played, but one of the best JRPGs I've played in recent years, but even more than that, one of the best video games I've played in years. This ticks all of the boxes for me for a video game. This is full of content, which is something that I love in video games. This allows you to have multiple playstyles and fights because you can play as all of the characters in the game. Even though there is a main character, every other character that plays alongside them has their own unique fighting style. So no two playable characters will be the same in this video game. The soundtrack for this game is fantastic, magical, and beautiful. I love this game so much. I love this game so much that I platinumed it. As you may notice, this says PS4 as opposed to PS5 because I haven't seen the justification yet in purchasing a PS5 until this year. And also they've been very difficult to get. So, I will most likely be getting a PS5 this year. I just haven't seen a lot of worthwhile games to purchase a PS5 for until this year. So, this was a pretty good price, just because it's been out for a little while, and I guess because it's on PS4. This was about $25, which I think was a fair price. So, you follow the main character, which is this person right here. I've actually forgotten everybody's names. And you basically travel through different worlds and planets, for that matter, to help basically take down different countries' bosses, so that the people are free to make their own decisions and live their own lives as they please. And then you play as her alongside him. It's been a little bit since I've played this, so the details have flown away at this point. But as you can see, there are these characters on the back, and you can play as every single one. So I found that with some video games, when you can play as other characters outside of the main character, the moves can be a little lackluster, which just encourages you to go back to the main character instead. But because so much emphasis and work and detail was put into each of the different characters' playstyles, you want to play as every single one. For example, this character here focuses magic attacks, which are obviously crucial for different fights. Each boss in the game will be tackled a little bit better by different playstyles, whether that's just weapons and melee attacks or magic. It just depends. So, this person is essentially a tank, and they have pretty high defense and attack naturally, so they're good for defensive. This character is a very good healer, and their secondary is magic. This character is ranged. They use guns. He uses swords. He does up close fists, and this character uses magic. So every single character serves a different purpose, and they're all very important to most fights. The only character that I felt didn't get the most use, because they kind of didn't need it for the most part, is this one on the left here. And the reason for that is her special move was the only thing that I felt was important. And even though her defense was naturally quite high, I found that she died quite often. I don't know whether that's because of her naturally high attack and defense. She grabbed the boss's was just bad luck, but I found myself using this character the least. There are lots of wonderful additions to this game. It's full of DLC that you can purchase, but I didn't purchase any of it. The costumes that you can pick up in the game are really fun. You can decorate your character with different swords or different outfits, or if you have headpieces, you can put on dozens of different headpieces and body pieces, whether it be cat ears, bunny ears, tails, roses in the head, things like that, just to customize your character a little bit and keep the game fun. So I like that there's customized options in this game, because at least with the Dragon Quest games that I've played, I felt that the customizing of the characters has been a little limited, I think. So for that reason, I really, really like this game for that. As is tradition with JRPGs, this game is full of side quests. The side quests, though, don't feel tedious, and I love this game for that reason. Ni no Kuni, unfortunately, is a bad example of side quests. It's full of them, but I felt like, especially the first Ni no Kuni game, was full of very tedious side quests that made the game feel sometimes like it was a little bit more of a chore than something worthwhile to play. Another game that tackles side quests really well, that I'll discuss later on, is Skyrim. Skyrim does a fantastic job at tackling side quests in a really fun way. So yeah, this game is really, really good for that. This game has a really unique story to it. The actual story of the characters and their backgrounds, and even the community's background and its story, is really interesting and unique. So I was very, very impressed by that. The only minimal downside to this game is the fact that I feel it takes a couple of hours to get into the game properly, because your character starts out very weak and actually quite plain looking. You can feel a little bit lackluster, and you're supposed to, because your character is just starting out, progressing. But obviously, as time goes on and you do more missions and you play the game longer, you end up with a really cool character and fantastic attacks. Devil May Cry does that too, where the more you play and the more orbs you gain and powers you gain, your attacks become way more cool visually, and I like that for that reason. It does feel like Devil May Cry for that reason, and the progression of earning those things feels nice and balanced, and this does too. I've never seen a JRPG keep battle fights as interesting as this one. Dragon Quest also does it quite well, but this one does it the best, and the reason is because you have special moves and then you have team special moves, so this keeps battles different and interesting and visually extremely appealing. Nothing about this game is tedious. There isn't a grind to make it to the end. There isn't a grind to level up. It's nice and smooth and balanced. It's a fantastic game for that reason. I cannot possibly recommend this enough. Right now, it's quite cheap. I think it's going to stay cheap just because it's been out a while, but I would highly recommend this game. As for the rest of the Tales franchise, I've never played them at all. I'm quite picky when it comes to JRPGs visually. I can sort of work with the details and gameplay style pretty much with any JRPG, but I am very particular with the visuals. I don't like pixel style, you know, the little pixelated characters from old games. I don't really like that just because I wasn't raised on it, so I'm not really used to it. I don't really like it for that reason. I was raised on Dragon Quest VIII visuals to characters. So as much as I love Tales of Arise, there's something so special and unique and precious about In Sound Mind that I have to recommend that even beyond Tales of Arise. And I love this game. Love this game. In Sound Mind is a game that follows the stories of different people who have experienced different struggles and challenges in their life. And you play as the therapist for each of those individuals. And then you dive into the minds or experiences of those people. And you get to learn a little bit more about how their experiences came to be, what caused those people to feel the ways that they do. It tackles mental struggles in a really delicate, profound, and wonderful way. It's a tricky game. It's a complicated game too. But when I made it to the story with the person that lived in the forest, I knew that this was one of the best games I'd ever played. When the rain was pouring down and then it was nighttime with the forest out, I was amazed, absolutely amazed. I believe the Living Tombstone did the soundtrack to this game, and I actually found myself captivated by the soundtrack, and I think the Living Tombstone has a very good reputation when it comes to video games. I'm not too familiar with them, but I believe they did the soundtrack for this, and it was fantastic. It isn't purely a walk-around game. You do have to fight things. You do have to do puzzles, which are very difficult in some regards, I will say. So there is a little bit of challenge to the game, and there is, gun shooting, fighting, stuff like that. And I say that because there are quite a lot of games where it's almost just a walkthrough of an experience, rather than an action-based game. For example, Last Guardian is kind of like that. There's a little bit of fighting in it, but it doesn't really focus on that too much. That's another great game. But this game does have a pretty solid balance of walkthroughs of people's lives and a grandiose story with action elements and puzzle elements. Jump scare wise, this is, well, I say it's a horror. There are horror elements, but very few. This is a little bit more of, it's more complicated. It is story based. This game deserves all of the love and praise it's ever gotten, and I would encourage anybody to play this game. There is one jump scare in the game. The villain in the game is a consistent character throughout the game, and he does jump up behind you at one point, and that's the only time where I felt truly on edge and scared by the game. There are elements of being chased in the game, so there's that to take in mind. The fears, challenges, and problems that the characters have in the game are almost manifested into creatures or figures of sorts. So the forms they take on are unique looking in ways. For example, at one point there is a character who tackles anger and aggression based problems, and you tackle their struggles with that in the form of what is almost a mechanical ball. You're not facing the person, you're reason or another. I'm not sure why I did not, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the game, because I absolutely did, and I would recommend it. So the next game that I've been playing, that I play for a little bit almost every single day, is Fortnite. I've been playing Fortnite on and off since, what's it now, 2018, 19, one of those years, and I stopped playing for about a year in between there and then came back to it. Fortnite went through a very significant update. They're using a new engine now, I think, for the game. Pretty sure they are, because Epic owns Unreal Engine, so I think that's what it is. I don't like this particular season or chapter. I just don't know. I say chapter. If I'm wrong, it's the other way around. I don't like it. I don't like the medieval theme. I don't like the weapons. And I get the update with the graphics and whatnot. But I don't like it at all. It's clearly a visual improvement, but I don't like it. To me, it's kind of like if Warcraft went through an engine update that significantly altered the styles and appearances of the characters and the places. It would clearly be a visual improvement, but it wouldn't feel like the same game anymore. I think that's why Warcraft hasn't ever done that. And Fortnite's kind of felt like that, not to as significant as a degree as if Warcraft went through that, obviously. I think because Warcraft kind of feels, mid-2000s, but it just doesn't, it doesn't feel right to me. There's something about that graphic style to me that I don't really like at all. But I still play it because the gameplay is the same. Nice and easy to jump into and jump out of. It's a nice game to decompress and relax with. Not a lot you gotta invest into it. So I still appreciate the fact that the gameplay is the same and whatnot. I meant to try Overwatch, and I don't know how that is. Is it any good? I know a lot of people complained about having to get all of the characters again, so I don't know. It still looks really fun though. I don't know. Next, Bioshock 1, 2, and 3. So, finally, in 2022, I played the Bioshock trilogy. And it's been a long time coming. They were all free on Epic, so it was a perfect excuse to finally sit down and play the Bioshock series. I haven't been sticky tapping in a while, so I'll get back to that now. I played all of them within 2 weeks-ish or less. And my only problem is that my interest and enjoyment of the games peaked on the first one, and then fell from 2, and 3 was right at the bottom. I hated the ending of Bioshock 3. I've heard so many good things about Bioshock 3. I like, let's say, the plot twist between the characters, and that part, like that part of the story, brilliant. But the ending, I really hate it. I just really hate it. I just don't like it. You know, when they're walking through those places, like, over and over again. I think I can say that without spoiling it. Over and over again. That just, no. That's not how I wanted the game to end at all. And I hate the hook style of the game. Having to jump onto a hook and fly down is a nice, interesting mechanic, but not for Bioshock. That's just my opinion. So yeah, Bioshock 3, as an action shooter is fantastic. It really got that down better than the first 2 ever could. That was a wild improvement, massively. But just a lot of the elements of the story, the ending, the hook system, lost me. Really lost me. I did kind of adore, though, the way that the beginning rushed through 3 because I was so excited to see the ending, and I remember thinking, why did I ever bother rushing to the end? Oh, and in 3, the woman and the man who always talk to each other, I get the story behind it, but they were very annoying. But 1 was brilliant. I would recommend the Bioshock series, but I'm pretty sure if you've played video games, you've played Bioshock. If you haven't for some reason, you should play the first one. I'd really hoped that 1, 2, and 3 blended together a little bit more succinctly, but they don't really. I'm sure there are elements that blend, but I like when games blend their stories together. And I kind of hoped that I would have played as the character from the first one, the second one, something like that, for example, but you don't. I get it, because I'm pretty sure at the end of 1, you can't play as yourself in number 2. I just realised that, yeah, you cannot play. Actually, I mean, no, you could, just because at the end of number 1, it shows future events, so yeah, you could play as your character in 2, yeah. Maybe it's because they wanted to close the book on that, because they already had an ending for the person, so I don't know. 1 has just really big surprises in the plot. It's a great shooter game. It's a really, really good game. Fantastic story. The architecture's fantastic. The characters are unique and different. It plays like 40s, 50s music in the background. It's enchanting. I thoroughly enjoyed Bioshock 1. So that's the Bioshock series. Next, Monster Hunter Rise. Okay. It wasn't great. Let's just jump right in. It felt smaller, more limited, more boring than Monster Hunter World. When I first played Monster Hunter World a few years ago, I had nothing but good things to say about it. At least I hope it did, because it was, at least in hindsight, a brilliant game. The additional content that came out, the collaborations they did with other Capcom games, and the new monsters that easy to be humbled in Monster Hunter. This little guy is very, very cute. Thank you for the gift, by the way. This might be a nice video to incorporate. Clearly, I'm terrible with names of everything. It seems I love Tales of Arise, and I don't even remember the names of anything in it. So, but it's still great, even if my memory's poor. But yes, very, very cute. But go play Monster Hunter World, not Rise. And the next game is Final Fantasy XIV. I'm going to keep this one quite brief, just because I have very little that's good to say about it. For the last 2 years, particularly the height of, I think, last year, it felt like everybody was playing Final Fantasy XIV. They were giving away the first expansion to play for free, and it was a game that a lot of people were just playing. And so I gave it a go, and I felt just like it wasn't my game. But I think it deserves good things to be said about it. Anything negative I would ever say is personal preference, not because the game is bad. The community, for the most part, is great. Is it as perfect as people say, though? No. There are toxic people that play Final Fantasy XIV, but if I had to judge toxicity levels, Warcraft is up here and Final Fantasy XIV is down here, and Warcraft kind of missed the mark on that, and they're a little late on that to put down rules of, hey, you're in a community, treat your fellow players with respect. They let that slide for too long, and shame on Warcraft for doing that. When I messed up being a Thaumaturge or Black Mage, I was given advice, not spoken down to. Whereas in Warcraft, you just, for the most part, get spoken down to. There are great people that play Warcraft, and they really are the backbone of that game. That keep it going in any form of positive way, but that is probably the biggest difference. The Final Fantasy XIV just solved a lot of problems that Warcraft did not. Yeah, that's it on that. It just wasn't the playstyle for me. But yeah, it's still a good game. But my biggest obstacle with it was the fact that I didn't want to play through all of that story. I didn't want to pay to do it either, but that's the one thing that Warcraft has on that. It's the fact you don't have to go do all of the stories. You know, that's it. That's literally it. If that you could sort of play catch up a little bit quicker with everybody else playing the game, that would be an improvement. But yeah, the casino is perfect in it, by the way, and the amount of events that go on, brilliant. Warcraft could do with updating their events a little bit, especially Oktoberfest. So yeah, moving on. Games coming up. I have in my section there Horizon Forbidden West. I believe it's the second Horizon game. That's been out for a little bit now. It's been out for over a year, I think. I believe that's the name of it. If it's not, I'm just talking about the second Horizon game. Yeah, quite simply, I've just not gotten around to playing it, but I'm very much looking forward to playing Forbidden West. There's a VR game coming out with that in a little bit. I don't know if I'll be playing that or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, quite simply, I'm looking forward to playing Horizon Forbidden West. The first game was fantastic. It felt like it came out forever ago now. But yes, I'm very much looking forward to playing that game. Final Fantasy XVI in June. Yes, very much looking forward to Final Fantasy XVI. To get back to a little bit of tapping. I just realised I missed the game that I was supposed to talk about that I'm currently playing. I'll do that at the end. Final Fantasy XVI. Yes, the trailer for that looks fantastic. It has this cringy British accent 15 at all, to be completely honest. But that won't stop me from trying 16 just because of how much I love 10. Final Fantasy X is my favourite game alongside Dragon Quest 8. Always something to talk about with those games in a positive way. It has Aeons, which, draws me in, so I very much look forward to playing Final Fantasy 16. I will be playing it when it comes out. And Resident Evil 4 Remake in March. Yes, I will be most definitely playing Resident Evil 4 in March. And it looks great. It looks like a really nice, solid remaster of the original. Resident Evil 4 is a game I've either seen other people play a lot, or myself I've played a lot. It might be one of the games that I've played through seeing other people playing it myself the most. It was just a game that myself and my other family members just played through a lot, so it's one of those games I know very well, and I've always enjoyed it. Always enjoyed it. It's the type of game where I would put it on tomorrow. The thing is, with games like Tales of Rise, I'll probably never put it back on because heavily story-based, achievement-based, completionist-based, and character progression-based, so I feel like the book is closed on this in the most wonderful way. But Resident Evil, it's the type of game I could just play again and again and again. Devil May Cry 1 is like that too, which is funny because there's actually a relationship between Devil May Cry 1 and Resident Evil 4. I think one was supposed to be the other. So happy they're separate games because I love them both. So yes, those are the games I'm looking forward to. Now, back to games I'm playing. Skyrim. I mentioned in my update video that I have been playing Skyrim whilst I've been unwell. Feeling much better now, thankfully, but I'm still playing it. This is the anniversary edition. This came out in the last couple of years or so. This game is 11 to 12 years old, and I love this game so much. I love this game so much. As I mentioned a little while ago in the video now, side quests. This game is full of them, and all sorts of side quests. Go find things, go through a mine, go pick up something from a cave, go help some soldiers,
Anniversary Edition includes the core game, pre-existing and new Creation Club content, plus all 3 additional official add-ons, Dawn God, Hearthfire, and Dragonborn. I haven't even played those 3 yet. You know, so you can play 90 hours of content and not even start with the official add-ons. So I'm probably gonna be here a while playing this. It's brilliant. It's a fantastic game. You could turn it on and just say, I'm just gonna do story, or I'm just gonna do 2 hours of enchanting, or I'm gonna go fishing, or I'm just gonna do side quests, or I'm just gonna go, build a house. It's a humongous game that is just brilliant. I love this game. It's great. So that is all of my thoughts and feelings about the last 12 months of video games and video games that will be coming out in the future. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please let me know if there are any video games that you've been recently playing that you've enjoyed, if you're still awake of course, or if there are any video games that you are looking forward to playing. I'm very interested to see, because I've only got 2 or 3 games-ish that